Howdy folks, it's old J.R. Willis over here. I'm going to try to make another little old cooking video. Well, we got some pork chops up here today, and make some pork chops, some baked beans, and some turnip greens and mustard greens. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get started on these turnip greens and baked beans over here. So I'll bring y'all over this way, show you what I got going. Got me a little bit of onion chopped up here. I guess y'all don't see it. Oh yeah, I got that onion chopped up. I'm gonna use that in the beans and the turnip greens. So I'm gonna go ahead and open these. I just got some canned turnip greens and canned beans. We're gonna put them in a bowl and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, folks, I got 3 cans of these El Cheapo turnip greens. Well, I had 2 cans of turnip greens and 1 can of mustard greens. I can get them to come out. I'll be glad when ours in the garden get going good, but they ain't quite ready yet. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. Like about a can of water. Some of that onion in there. I use about half of the onion. It's 1 large onion. Use about half of it in this. I'm gonna put the other half over in these beans. I ain't got the beans open yet. I'll open them up here in a minute. Alright, I got 1 can of El Cheapo baked beans. Dump that in there. I add a little water to that too. About half of that can of water. Maybe not even quite half. I'm gonna cook it down. We'll go ahead and get that going. Now, I'm gonna add, we've got some of this olive oil. It's made for cooking. Take a little extra heat, I reckon. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that in the beans, a little bit in the greens. Now I'm gonna chop up some peppers and some garlic to throw in there. All right, hope y'all can see that. Yeah, I think you can see it. Now I got some peppers from out in the garden. I just got some jalapenos, banana peppers, some cayenne pepper. Gonna throw a little bit of it all in there and chop that up real good. Y'all can tell I ain't no pro chef. I can't do all that fancy cooking. I'm just doing it redneck style. Alright, I got them things cut up. I'm gonna put about half of them in one and half of it in the other. Same deal. Now I'm gonna cut up some garlic and I'll put that in there next. Alright folks, cut up a little bit of garlic. One of my least favorite parts about cooking, because you gotta have garlic. I usually get that kind in that jar. A lot of people say it ain't nearly as good, but I don't care nothing about cutting this mess up. I guess I ain't patient enough. But I gotta have my garlic in there. The guys on TV, they always smash it like that. I don't know, I guess that might help a little bit. Like I said, I usually get the kind in that jar. A whole lot easier and tastes pretty good to me. I don't see no problem with it. Anyway, y'all get the idea. Alright y'all, I got my garlic cut up. Put some of that in the baked beans. About the same deal. About half and half. Got all this on medium high. Cut that down. Alright folks, I got a couple of these pork shanks. Got up at the grocery store. We're going to pop them in there. Give it a little extra flavor. I about got too small a bowl for these greens, but it'll be alright. Now we cut that all down. Let that set on medium. Just slowly cook while I deal with these pork chops. Yeah, I about got too little of a bowl right here on these greens, but they'll be alright. Alright, now we're going to deal with these pork chops. Let's see, I'm gonna use the same thing. A little bit of that cooking olive oil to grease the pan. Go ahead and get this pan heated up. I'm gonna cook these things like you would a steak. I'm gonna cook it pretty fast and gonna try my best not to overcook it. Cause I hate dried out pork chops. That's one thing I hate. I'm just gonna heat this pan up a little bit. Put it on medium high. Come over here to these pork chops. I'm gonna season them up. And y'all know what direction that's going. Tony Chachere's, of course. Got a little steak seasoning, that'd probably be pretty good. This is brand new, so I gotta open it up. I hate these little things they put on the lids and stuff, man. They're always hard to get on. I mean, they use some serious glue on these suckers, that's for sure. I don't know what they're worried about. I'm gonna use a little of this garlic powder on there. Same deal. All right. Season these things a little bit. See what we got going. Just gonna season them on the fly. That lid didn't get mashed back down very good. A little garlic. Steak seasoning. Stuff's clogged up in there. Clean now. Yeah, man, that stuff might not be no count. I just bought it today. Boy, it's clumpy. Pretty clumpy. Might use something else. I might get it. That'll do alright. But don't, I got some more seasoning up here I can break out. That'll be alright. A little clumpy, but it'll work. A little of that Tony Sasher's, you know me. I like that Cajun flavor in there a little bit. Might got a little carried away, but you know, half of it's gonna stick to the skillet anyway. Alright, we'll bring y'all back over here. See what we got going. That darn skillet ought to be getting pretty hot about now. Let's see what we got going. Turn it up just a little bit. It ain't quite hot enough. It's getting there. Oh yeah. Get a little more of that seasoning on the other side now. Scared this lid ain't on good. Feels like it is. A little garlic on there. Can't never go wrong with that. More of that good old Tony Sasher's main ingredient. Alright, we're gonna sizzle the crap out of them now. Alright folks, we're gonna add a little salt. We'll start out with about a teaspoon, and our beans, turnip greens, a little black pepper. Justin Wilson, he wouldn't use that. He'd use that cayenne. We're gonna give a little Tony Sasher's, so it's got it in there. I like both kinds myself. Do a little more in the greens than we do the beans. Keep stirring everything around. I got the heat cut down pretty about medium on these greens. And I done cut it down to somewhere between low and medium on these baked beans. They work about sticking. We're gonna cook them on down. Keep the heat low. Now, these pork chops is coming along pretty good. I got them a good medium high. I might give them just a little touch of this black pepper too. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Most of it's gonna come off on the pan anyway. Oh yeah, that's got that seared good. I'm gonna flip them over. Like I said, most of it's going to come off on the pan anyway, so I'm going to give it a little touch more. Old Tony Sasher. Not as much this time though, just a little sprinkle. Now, the key to these pork chops, folks, is I ain't going to cook the crap out of them. I'm just going to cook them for a little while. I don't want to overcook them and let them get real dry. Now, I want to make sure they're done, so it's kind of tricky. Probably ought to put that lid on there to help hold some of that heat in. It'll help get them more done. We'll let that sit there and cook a little while, but not too long. Now, being as I like garlic, since I got this garlic powder sitting here, I'm gonna add a little bit of that to our greens and beans. Can't have too much in my opinion. Keep these things stirred up. Don't want nothing sticky. Alright, I'm gonna flip these pork chops in. It's probably gonna about do them, to be honest with you. See it all overcooked. Probably getting pretty close. They'll keep cooking when I take them off. Don't nobody want no rare pork chops. They don't want it dried out neither. That actually looks about right. This is where I cut my vegetables up, so ain't nothing wrong with this pan. It's got a little seasoning on it. We're gonna call that done. Like I say, these jokers will keep cooking. Yeah, it looks about right. I just don't want to get too dried out. Just set that up here. Now these greens and beans, they're gonna need to cook for a little while. Let that pork shank get down in there. So I'm gonna put some of this stuff up and just let that sit there a little while and we'll come back to it. Alright y'all, while I'm waiting on them dang greens and stuff to get ready, I might as well make a little cornbread to go in here. That's always tastes pretty good with that kind of stuff. You got, now this ain't coffee, this has got cornmeal in it, so I'm trying to get it out of here. About out of it. So to make it, I got another video that shows more in depth. Too wild about this coffee can, but it'll work. That was my girlfriend's idea. Hard to pour it out of. Alright, well, we barely got enough. So we'll go a little light on the milk. I'm going to use some buttermilk. That was 2 cups of cornmeal. Go a little light on it. I'll do approximately 3/4 cup of milk. I'm going to use this same old cooking olive oil. I've been liking it pretty good. That ain't the one I had open. Get this oven over here. Put about 1/4 cup of that in there. Tastes pretty good, I think. Works just fine. A little healthier for you than old vegetable oil. All them trans fats and all that. Got some chicken eggs over here. Right out of the yard. Throw an egg up in there. And I've been giving it, now you can use baking powder, probably is what most people like better. I've been giving a little dash of baking soda. I don't know, about a teaspoon of it. Or the powder, either one. Now I done got that oven heating up. Put it on 425. Stir this mess up pretty good. And I'm going to use that same skillet that I used for them pork chops. I'm going to heat it back up. It's still got some grease in it. I took the time off camera to scrape that residual stuff out of it from that old burnt seasoning and all. So right now it ain't got nothing in it but just a little grease. I'm trying to mix this up pretty good so it ain't clumpy. Throw a little flour in it too if you want to. I don't think I got none. If I had some. No, I think we out of that, unless it's in a different container. Yeah, here's some right here. I'm gonna throw a little touch of that in there. That'll give it a little bit more. Not too much. About 1/4 of a cup, half a cup. And if that looks too thick, I'll add a little more milk to it. Yeah, it's getting a little doughy, so I'm gonna add a little bit of milk. Want it to be kind of runny where it pour in the skillet pretty easy. I've turned that skillet back on so it'll be good and hot. I'm gonna cut it down about medium. Yeah, that's about right. Just right consistency where you can easily pour it in there, you know. Looks about right there. I ought to make a big pan. Now, I ain't got none of that left, so I'm gonna use flour. One thing I always do, bring y'all back over here, is sprinkle a little bit of flour or meal in a hot skillet with some grease in it, and it is hot. You know, for the bottom of it, you get a little bit of crispy stuff on the bottom. Got a little extra in there this time on the grease, but it'll be alright. I've done it like that before. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Get it all in there. Them little silicone things work pretty good. I'm standing right here and I don't want to reach right there, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, I like to let that set on the eye right here. Let it turn it up a little bit and let it bubble a couple of times. Alright, now that cornbread's bubbled a couple of times, I'm going to one of these oven mitts. Stick that thing down in the oven. I got it on 425. I like to kind of shake it around a little bit. Pop it down in there. Let that go a little while. Alright folks, I checked that old cornbread. It was just about to get done. I flipped that old oven on broil. That way I'll kind of brown it on the top. But it's about to get done now, it won't be long. Alright folks, that looks about perfect on that cornbread. Get this oven mitt on. Try to get that joker out of there. About let it go too long. That looks about right. That'll be just right. Now I'll let that old cornbread cool down a little bit. I'll set a plate under it. It'll flop right out on it. Meanwhile, I'm letting these old greens and beans just sit there and simmer. I checked seasoning on them, tasted of it a little bit a while ago off camera. They was just right. It's one thing about it, folks. You always got to keep your spoon handy and keep checking your stuff. That's the only way to tell what you got going on. You can't just guess at it. These old pork chops have just been sitting there, kind of cooking on their own, you know. I said that meat would keep cooking because it's so hot. And I didn't want to overcook them, so that's why I took them off a little early. They ought to be alright. I'm going to let that cornbread cool off a little bit, and I'm going to flip it over. Let it flop out of that pan. Then we'll go ahead and fix us up a plate and see what this stuff tastes like. Alright folks, I let that cornbread sit a little while and cool off, but it's still pretty warm. So I'm going to be real careful. But I'm going to show y'all this is how we get the cornbread out of the pan into the plate. Just lay it up there and flip her out, baby. That's about right. That ain't too bad, is it? I'll let that sit there and cool off a little bit more. Sometimes it's easier to cut it right away. It just depends. It's pretty easy to cut. Trial and error on that. I'm cutting it the old-fashioned way. Everybody's gonna need a pretty big piece anyhow. So I'm gonna leave a pretty big slice. That'll do it right there, baby. Now all we gotta do is fix us up a plate and see what it tastes like. All right, Mom, get you a taste of some of it. This is what we got, folks. And she has to chew on that pork chop a little bit, so she had to get her teeth for all that. I'll get Nikki eating that. How's that taste?
That's good.
Got a decent flavor, you think?
Ooh, yeah.
You like it all right, huh?
That's extra good.
I got them a little runny. I guess I shouldn't have added that water to them.
You can put cornbread in there, soak it up.
It's got a pretty good taste to it, though.
Yeah, it's good.
I tasted of it, so I liked it.
It's good.
See how you like them greens. They taste all right. All right, take it from Mom. She's been eating for 81 years, so she ought to be an expert by now. I'll get Nikki eating that pork chop because Mom's going to have to get her teeth out for that part. We're going to see what Nikki thinks about this pork chop. I try not to get it overdone. If you don't like it,
that's good.
Be honest about it.
It's good.
You think it tastes all right, huh? It's tender enough. That's the main thing. She must like it. She took another bite, folks. Well, that's it, folks. Another meal done, so I'm finna go in there and eat some of it myself. Old Southern style redneck food, man. Easy to do. Just put a little time into it, give it some flavor. We'll see y'all next time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Like the video. I'll keep making more of this kind of stuff.